Who knew that Amber would ever be able to tell her experiences about a book that she actually liked and that actually caught her attention? Hi, I'm Reed, and with me today is Amber and Ashton. We are here to discuss the importance of literature in our lives, and in particular, one piece of literature that really turned the page and got us into reading. So, guys, what is your experience with reading?
Reading back in the day, it was a good thing for me. It was very easy for me back when the pictures was in the book and everything. I enjoyed it a lot. I would just sit there and read books all the time because matching the words with the picture was just something that really made me happy. Things like that.
For me, reading was really never fun. It was just always you had to stare at this book full of pages. You never knew what the words meant. They were like big words that you would find in a dictionary that nobody used in like their everyday life. And so that just really turned me away from reading.
Yeah, I have a similar experience with reading. I just was never really into it. It was just kind of hard, and as a kid, I was in a specialized education program because I was horrible at reading.
What events in your life led up to you reading this book?
For me, so when I was younger, I was put into what's called like an individualized education program, and that's because I wasn't really good at reading. So I had to go to class, and I would meet with a tutor who was just one of my teachers, and we would just read for a little bit. And I'd have to take time reading tests, and I had that started in first grade, and it ended in eighth grade, and so reading just kind of sucked all the way up until I read that book, which was in my eighth grade year.
For me, it was when my father passed away. I remember on Saturday mornings, we would always sit on the couch and read car magazines. But I didn't really care for reading still, but I used to always look at the pictures. And then, since he died, I just felt like, what was the point of reading? Because all books seemed like a fairy tale, and that wasn't how my life was. So that kind of, turned me away from reading. But then I finally decided to read this book because I was like, well, maybe all books are not like that.
Yeah, reading after pictures went away and all that, reading became very hard for me. I didn't like it that much anymore. Vocabulary got stronger, so I was really slacking on the books. Plus, I was going through a hard time in my life at that time, so I wasn't barely doing anything. And then it just led up to me finally, somebody handed me this book, and it led on.
What experiences did you have before reading this book?
My experience before reading the book, I did not make the baseball team, and it really hit me hard. I was a depressed little kid, things like that, because my friends all made the team, and it was just me left behind, and I was bawling out, crying. I didn't want to do anything anymore. I said I was done with sports and everything, and all that. But then the thing that made me read this book is because my mom and my teacher met, and they came together and they decided that they recognized how I was getting my AR points and things like that. And my mama was like one of those parents, she'll push you, she would never let you fail, things like that. She was always on me about everything. And well, that's when they decided oh, he's going through a rough time through baseball, so that's when they gave me this book and it helped me get my confidence back and things like that.
You think that would have been different if your teacher and your mom never would have met? Because my mom and my teacher, they barely met, especially when it came to reading. Because I was good at it in school, I just didn't like it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a lot different because I would never read that book. Probably would have got my behind beat for slack and things like that. I mean, but I'm just glad that they got together and then they told me about this book.
Yeah, I mean, I had similar experience. I wasn't didn't make a tryout, but I was very athletic as a kid, so never would like to sit down and read. I just always kind of had to be moving, so it's kind of a pain in the butt to just sit there and be forced to read page after page, just boring words, no pictures, no nothing to do. So that was just reading for me. It just sucked, and that I think is the way for most kids, right?
Yeah.
I mean, no one really likes to sit down and read, but we all kind of have to, and we know it's important.
I just always thought books were fairy tales, and that was the opposite of how life was. They all had a happy ending.
Everything in life has a happy ending. I totally understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it was all like fairy tales. That'd be nice. All right, so what turned you guys away from reading, or what didn't you like so much about reading when you first started?
The long pages, being forced to read in school, that like books you didn't want to read. I remember like in high school, we read Lord of the Flies, and that was the worst book ever. Like,
Yeah, that's
I
horrible.
had no interest in. I could connect to it or nothing.
That's just like how Animal Farm for me was in high school and things like that. One thing that really turned me away from books was like being like how you said a real athletic kid and things like that. You didn't want to be inside sitting down reading a book when you could be outside with your friends and all that,
Oh yeah.
playing and everything. So I mean, the pictures went away, vocabulary got stronger too, and it turned me all the way away from books.
Yeah, so I mean, same thing for me too. Really, just the liking to be outside and being athletic. That was my biggest thing. But also, I was like really close with my grandpa,
Yeah.
and he used to sit down and like make me read a newspaper to him or something, like read the scores, just like to get me to read. Little things like that I didn't necessarily think about at the time. And then when he kind of passed away, like I just didn't really do that anymore. I didn't like go read the scores of a newspaper because I didn't care. I didn't have to.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stopped reading, and then just kind of dreaded reading in class, and it just became something I just didn't do.
I hated when my mama made me read over the summertime.
Yeah,
Like,
summer reading was
She was
awful.
like, "Oh, if you read so
Summer
many
reading.
books, you can get a Six Flags ticket." I'm just like, I don't really care. I just don't want to read.
Yeah, reading, and there's some things that try to bribe you into reading and you still won't do it. Like that's just how horrible books were to me.
Oh yeah.
How could you expect your life would be different if you never read a book?
It's a good question. I don't really know because I mean, the book that I read, Tuesdays with Morrie, that's kind of what got me through or helped me get over part of my grandfather's death. Because in the story, I mean, Morrie's really sick and he ends up dying, and one of the main characters is like with him like every day up until he dies. And so that if without reading that, I don't know. I mean, I never really thought about that book being so like impactful on my life until he died, but without reading it, I don't really know. It probably would have taken me a little bit longer to get over that than having like those lessons from someone who's experienced similar things.
If I would have never read Jay's Legacy, I think I would not have interest in books at all. Because, like, even today, I can still read books written by Elder Brand because, like, most of her books are geared towards, like, young black females. So, like, you can kind of connect to it. Because before, I just thought books were just not for me. Like, I could connect to no book at all.
Yeah, Football Genius for me was the book that put me back in the sports and turned my attitude all the way around. Because after I didn't make the baseball team, I totally shut everything down. I said I wasn't going to play sports anymore, or any sport or anything. I just said that all because of that. Like, you know how bad it feels. A little kid didn't make something that all his friends did, and he's the one left alone in the dark and everything. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
wasn't fun. It really turned me down. But then reading this book brought me back up and got me back into it. So my life probably be a whole different story if it was from never reading this book.
Do you think you would have never played sports again if that was the case?
To tell you the truth, it would. I wouldn't say I would have never played it again, but I definitely would have been back into that as quick as I was. Like,
Right.
I came right back the next year, made the team and everything. I probably would have sat back a little while and was just sad. I might not even went back into it, so that we'll just never know.
Would you recommend it to other kids who went through the same struggle you did, or like going through that same struggle?
Oh yeah, I would, cause that book, like he was going through a tough time too, and it just shows that if you keep fighting, if you keep working, you never give up, anything's possible. And I really just enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's a good lesson.
So, like, what mainly stuck out about your book beyond, like, the sports and stuff like that?
What stood out to me was just his attitude. Because I recognized his own dad was the coach of the team, didn't even want to practice with him or make him start. He was second string. But his mama came through and she became working for the Falcons, and that's when he was able to go out there and practice with him. I just appreciated like how he just stuck with it. Like if your own dad turned you down for doing something, it would basically shut you all the way down. But him being so strong in mind, so strong in heart, allowed him to be able to fight through that wall that he had right in front of him, and that he showed me how to fight through my walls. So it wasn't just all about like sports and that situation. I can tell you what I learned from that book and put it into any situation. There's a wall there.
So basically, his determination would stick out to you.
The determination is definitely what got to me.
That's what kind of stuck out about my book too. But beyond that, like the author, she didn't make the book seem imaginary. Like she used real life events, and she didn't make everything seem like, oh, life had a happy ending. Because sometimes in life, you go through ups and downs, and everything won't be so happy and jolly or whatever. That's what really stuck out to me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, mostly. So normally, you would think anyways, when you have someone who would, like, pass away who you're close to, you'd look at someone else who had a similar situation and how they coped with it. But it was kind of the opposite. I actually looked at the person who passed away in this book because it was Maury who was really giving all the lessons. And even though he was dying and he knew he was dying and he was stressing the importance of talking about dying. And that's kind of what the book was about. It was just Maury's, like, lessons on life. And just hearing that and, like, kind of helped me get over it because I realized, like, death isn't such a terrible thing because it's the end of one chapter, the start of another for anyone, really.
Yeah. So that's, yeah.
So would you inspire other people to read your book, or would you suggest it to anyone else? Or?
Yeah, I would. I would suggest it to all the people who's out there struggling. Not just with sports. Like, it can be anything. It just, like...
Right.
If you appreciate, like, how he took his situations and made it into something better instead of just looking at the sports perspective. Because I know most people like to turn down things. If they're not athletic, they like to turn it down because they're like, oh, I don't play sports. And most people even, like, they just despise athletes because how athletic they are sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm not telling you to read the book because of that. I'm telling you to read it so you can learn how to fight through the hard situations that you go throughout life. And the determination that he had was just the main key. Troy was a very strong character in this book, and that was the boy who was going through it. I just appreciate what Tim Green wrote because who knows where I would be without that.
So it's just inspiring, kind of helped you to get over those walls, right? Yeah.
I mean, that kind of relates to my book too because the main character, Jade, she faced, like, situations in life, and she constantly compared her life to a dodgeball game. But, like, she kept her head up, and she didn't let the hard times get the best of her, and that's what I think is the most important thing about life. And that's why I would inspire people to read this book.
Yeah. See, I would pretty much do the same as what both of you just said when it comes to, like, recommending the book or inspiring others to read it. Just it's not so much important for just the situation the book covers. It's more of, like, what you can put the book into in different situations in life. That makes it such, like, a good, useful tool for anyone, really.
I know for me, like, Jade was that one character I could relate to in the book. Like, what was the character I could relate to?
Yeah, for me it was Troy. He was a boy who was going through a situation at the time, and he just really helped me get over my hump in life. That was going through.
Yeah, for me it was. So I mean, I said it related to, like, I listened to Maury's lessons on life, but it was actually the writer of the book, the author, Mitch Albom, who I kind of related to the most because he had just lost. It was his old professor, but they were, like, really good friends. He went and saw him every day, and he just lost him. So that's who I kind of looked at.
Has your passion for reading changed after reading this book? And if it did, why not?
I would say definitely, yeah. I mean, for me, just reading something that I could actually relate to kind of made me, even though I still wasn't 100% like, yeah, let's go sit down and read. Like, that just wasn't me. It just, I never really knew something could, like, relate to me like that. So I would always kind of, like, read the back covers more, or go read the first 2 chapters of a book, trying to figure out if it's something else that maybe I had related to in my life, or that could help me overcome a certain hardship in my life at that time. And that's kind of gave me a little slight drive to go look for other books and continue to read more.
Like, going off of what you said, I just think that this book, it opened my eyes to, like, to all books not the same. Like, some of them you can't relate to. And, like, I feel like that's kind of why my passion for reading changed. But, I mean, it's still the same. Like, I really don't like to read. Because, like, I used to just look at the cover of the book and just not open the book at all.
Yeah.
Because I could, like, tell by the cover. Like, if I seen pirates or something on the cover, I would not read it. But now it's just, okay, I'll give it a chance because maybe it could, like, impact me or relate to me.
Yeah, reading, I can't say that changed for me because I was totally against books, anti-reader, everything. And then now, I'll give a book a chance. Definitely if it's something to do with sports, and definitely if it was written by Tim Green.
Okay, so, like, y'all would say that it's safe to say that reading wasn't our strong point, but, like, it was one particular book that we all just discussed that kind of changed our perception of reading.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. I mean, because, like, even if we didn't make a sports team or we were being embarrassed by, like, being an IEP or dealing with a loved one or feeling like books weren't our strong point, we still got through it and seeing the bigger picture of reading, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that concludes our podcast.